Demon Slayer recently knocked One Piece off the #1 spot in the Jump rankings, the first series to achieve this feat in 11 years. The company that publishes Jump has disputed this fact though, but what's certain is that between February the 10th and February the 16th of 2020, all 1 spots on Oricon's weekly print sales chart were occupied by volumes of Demon Slayer. Furthermore, it's the 3rd manga series after One Piece and Attack on Titan to have a single print volume sell more than 1 million copies in its first week since Oricon launched its chart in 2008. For a manga that started serialization as late as 2016, such a phenomenal rise is in large part due to the success of its anime version. And the success of the anime is thanks entirely to Studio Ufotable's superb animation, which has managed to elevate a good but not outstanding shonen manga to legendary status. The first thing about Demon Slayer that strikes you is its animation. It hits you bang in the senses. Here I'm not talking so much about the character designs but the overall art, the background scenes and everything else in between, which are drawn in such intricate detail and with so much care that they take on a life of their own. A snowy forest, a lively village, a dreamy canopy of lavender wisteria, and even a sword unleashing a fierce attack. The images seem to jump straight out of a Japanese ukiyo-e catalogue. For me, this is what struck me first and most upon watching the super hit anime from 2019 and what stayed with me after I had completed all 26 episodes. Before we get into this in detail, let's talk a bit about the story of Demon Slayer. It's about a young man named Commando Tanjiro whose family is slaughtered by a demon. Only his younger sister Nezuko is spared, but she has been turned into a demon herself. So this sets Tanjiro on a mission to become a demon slayer so that he can save other people from the misfortune that befell him. But more importantly, it's also to find a cure for his sister, who still remains a part of her humanity. It's a simple narrative and it's typical of most shonen series. One Piece is about a pirate who sets off in search of the ultimate treasure. Naruto is about a ninja who wants to be the leader of his village someday. What makes these series stand out from others isn't so much their story, but what they make of it. In the case of Demon Slayer, it uses every trope in the shonen manual. An ordinary young man with a seemingly impossible goal, intensive training that helps him take the first steps towards that goal, dangerous enemies who test his skills, friends and mentors who become an important part of his life. It might be formulaic, but it is efficiently so. Tanjiro's character is quite likable, with his familiar love and sense of responsibility as an older brother, as well as his empathy for the vile creatures he hunts down, his most admirable traits. Yet again, he's not a character that really grabs your attention and holds it for a long time like, say, Luffy or Naruto, but in its art and animation, Demon Slayer has few competitors. Ufotable has built its career on gorgeous-looking animation. If you've seen Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night, especially the battle scenes, you'll get a good sense of what this studio is capable of. But in Demon Slayer, it really ups its game and sets the bar very high. This could have something to do with the fact that Demon Slayer is Ufotable's first full adaptation of a Shonen Jump series, and playing in the big league quite possibly boosted its creativity several notches. For one, the anime boasts of some of the best CGI work in the business. This is a big deal because CGI is a touchy subject in anime. The modern Berserk series illustrates how terrible CGI can destroy the work of even one of the greatest manga artists in the world. Ufotable not only dares to use this taboo technology in Demon Slayer, it actually does a stellar job of it. In an interview, studio producer Yuma Takahashi explains that the CGI works primarily because it's derived from work that's drawn by hand. An example of this is Tanjiro's fighting technique, which is called Breath of Water and is illustrated by giant swirling waves of water that flow from his unsheathed sword. The hand-drawn quality of the image and the use of different shades of the color blue are undoubtedly a tribute to the great ukiyo-e master Katsushika Hokusai and his most famous work, The Great Wave. To work towards such an audacious comparison, whether deliberately or otherwise, and to succeed at it is no small feat. In a lot of anime, the photographic quality of computer-generated imagery can clash horribly with the more hand-drawn aspect of its character designs. Demon Slayer has some strong character designs. Fortunately, these neither clash with the bold CGI nor are they overpowered by it. A fine balance between the two results in a visual masterpiece. Apart from the beautiful backgrounds and landscapes, the animation literally pops in the battle sequences, which are the pride and joy of any shonen series. Like Tanjiro's water style, his fellow Slayers have their own breathing techniques and beautiful animation to go with it. The unsheathing of a sword is accompanied by a flurry of delicate butterflies in the case of the soft-spoken Shinobu Kocho, a streak of silver-blue lightning for the sleepyhead Zenitsu, a pool of dead calm water for the cool and collected Tomioka Giyu, and the setting sun when Tanjiro does the dance of the fire god. But beyond the slashing swords and falling heads of slain demons, the action and animation also slows to produce some magical moments. One such moment is Tanjiro's slaying of the female spider demon. It's easily one of the most visually arresting scenes in the entire series. It begins with a silhouette of the Slayer and his sword caught in the light of a full moon, framed by a cloudy sky and dark, tall trees. The action picks up as Tanjiro hurtles towards the demon, who is now in deep panic in the face of certain death. But just as the tension seems to reach its peak, the mood changes abruptly as the demon gives in to her fate and even welcomes it. And Tanjiro, sensing his surrender, switches to his most gentle technique to give her a painless and merciful end. The animation that captures that moment of a surrender and mercy has an almost ethereal quality that one would certainly not expect in such a battle. The fight scenes also get a boost from some artful choreography and cleverly angled shots. Despite the breakneck pace, each motion is clear and precise. No words are needed to convey what's going on. This makes the anime's tendency to rely on a lot of dialogue, especially to explain the various fighting techniques and moves, unnecessary and even jarring at some times as well. Take the example of the battle between Tanjiro and Kyogai in a house that transforms and moves to the tune of the demon's drums. The upside down shots and constantly changing perspectives give the sequence an Inception-like quality, which is thoroughly enjoyable. The animation does a fine job of keeping up with the frenetic pace of the attacks and counterattacks and doesn't drop in quality for even a second. So it's quite unnecessary for Tanjiro to be explaining every move Kyogai makes when we can see it as clear as day. However, that's still a small price to pay for some superbly animated and choreographed fights. On the subject of art style, it might be sacrilege to some Demon Slayer fans not to mention the series' cute appeal. After all, that seems to be a major crowd pleaser. In the more light-hearted, comedic moments, the character designs lean heavily towards kawaii. This is especially true for Nezuko. She is, at her core, a demon that thirsts for human blood and hence must be muzzled at all times, and she can kick some serious ass whenever she senses her brother to be in danger. Yet Nezuko is hands down the cutest little sister to come out of the anime universe in recent times. She wears pink, speaks in cute little grunts, receives and gives head pats, and is entirely deserving of her big brother's adoration and insistence that she's the most gorgeous girl in the whole wide world. It's no wonder that her ability to shrink herself and fit into a box has given rise to numerous small Nezuko memes and a legion of adoring fans. But on a more serious note, Nezuko's human-like qualities are the biggest justification of Tanjiro's belief that not all demons are evil and that a way to make them human again is not that unthinkable. If Nezuko is the anime's cuteness mascot, Zenitsu and Inosuke provide the comic relief, and their character designs play a big part in this. Zenitsu is the obvious clown, but Inosuke's design is pretty amusing as well. He has a ripped body, husky voice, and wears a hollowed out boar's head as a mask. Outwardly, he's a manly man who prefers to fight with two swords and likes his blades to be chipped and old. Yet behind the mask and manly facade is a bona fide pretty boy, a girl's face sitting on top of a muscled body, as Zenitsu puts it. One area in which Demon Slayer is different from some of the more recent shonen fare is its heavy Japanese influence and use of cultural symbols, again brought to life by its art. These references are everywhere as part of the character designs and in the general environment. The most apparent of these is its yokai theme. Yokai are the myriad demons and spirits of Japanese folklore who can be powerful or tame, benevolent or spiteful. Here the main antagonists are demons, but the anime uses plenty of yokai references to characterize even the good guys. Tanjiro's mentor Orokodaki wears a striking red Tengu mask. Tengu are half-bird, half-human yokai characterized by a long nose. Once considered evil, Tengu now enjoy the status of mini-gods and are worshipped in some Shinto shrines. They are also said to live deep in the mountains and possess heavenly sword skills, both qualities we find in Orokodaki. The mentor's students, meanwhile, wear white and red masks that are symbolic of another well-known yokai, the Kitsune or fox demon. Often considered considered a trickster, this demon has a long history in Japanese folklore and is fairly common in anime as well. Think Naruto and the fox masks worn by some members of the Anbu squad. You'll find plenty of other such traditional objects scattered around in Demon Slayer 2. Gyogai's main weapon are hourglass-shaped two-headed drums called Suzumi that have a deep association with the Kabuki and Noh theater forms. Similarly, the demon Susamaru uses two vibrantly colored balls with geometric patterns that are called Temari. In the old days, Temari were made from bits of leftover kimono cloth and reportedly gifted by parents to their children on New Year's Day. Then there are the paper talismans used by the demon Yushiro that are similar to the talismans used by divination experts called Onmyoji to ward off evil spirits. Another beloved Japanese symbol, the Karasu or crow, serves as a messenger to Tanjiro and his fellow slayers, instructing them on where the next demon hunt will go down. Like kitsune masks, crows are aplenty in anime. In Haikyuu, the volleyball boys go to a school called Karasuno, and they also go by the nickname the Flightless Crows. In Japanese folklore, the Yatagarasu or three-legged crow is considered a symbol of divine intervention. Apart from symbols and objects, Demon Slayer's setting in the Taisho period serves as an interesting historical reference point. The Taisho era refers to the years between 1912 and 1926, which were a period of great transformation and growing Western influence in Japan, a mere half a century after the country opened its borders to the rest of the world. The anime captures this spirit of change in the contrast between Tanjiro's quiet rural hometown and the glitzy lights and towering building of Asakusa. It's also seen in the demon Muzan's European-style clothing, which is in stark contrast to the haori and sandals that the Demon Slayers favor. These cultural and historical references that liberally pepper Demon Slayer are enhanced by its strong art style. To capture the period as accurately as possible, Takahashi says the team at Ufotable researched numerous photographs of Japan during the Taisho era. Being no expert on the subject, I can't say if the visualization is accurate, but there's no doubt that it's strikingly beautiful, and that's what matters. Unlike the Edo period or the Meiji era that followed it, both symbolized heavily by samurai and feudal lords, the Taisho era has had very little representation in anime. Gintama and Samurai Champloo are some examples of anime set in the Edo period. Rurouni Kenshin is probably the best example of a series set in the Meiji era. Now, with the success of Demon Slayer, there's no doubt which anime best captures the Taisho period. One might argue that the highest standards of animation and artwork don't make a great anime. In the case of Demon Slayer, there's no doubt that its other aspects pale in comparison to its visual artistry. The story's nice, but nothing out of the ordinary. You could argue Dororo, another popular anime from 2019, probably has a better story to tell. The characters, too, aren't that remarkable. Muzan, frankly, seems rather unimpressive. As the series' main protagonist, he's no patch on Askeladd from 2019's other mega hit Vinland Saga. I'll admit that this is a rather unfair comparison. Askeladd overshadowed every other character that came out of the anime stables last year and then some. As for Muzan, there's still time for his character to develop, given that it's early days for the Demon Slayer anime. That said though, Demon Slayer arrived with almost no hype or anticipation, but ended up being a runaway success. A follow-up film's been announced and a second season is apparently on the cards. Even if its success is based entirely on its animation and nothing else, the series deserves every bit of attention and love it's been basking in. If animation and art style can have that kind of effect on a series, it's definitely worth a watch. We've seen it happen before with Attack on Titan anime elevating an intriguing but otherwise average visualized manga into probably the most popular show on earth. It seems to be happening again with Demon Slayer, and you might not want to miss it. That brings us to the end of this video. Do you agree with my assessment of Demon Slayer? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, so if you enjoyed the video, press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more deep dives into your favorite anime series. I'll see you soon with a new video.